Un-Duality. Un. The 17th century Zen master Bankei, the core of his teaching was the unborn Buddha mind. Unborn. How can you conceptualize that? The ancient Dzogchen masters spoke about the uncreated, the unmanifest, the unfixated, the unconditioned. And in the 14th century was an extraordinary unknown English monk who wrote about the unknowing. Unborn, uncreated, unmanifest, unconditioned, unknowing. What's with this un? Now both the prefix un and non, when placed before a word, create a negation, a not. Yet un is more potent, it's more active. Consider the distinction between unconcerned and non-concerned. Unbiased, non-biased. Get that sense of the sharpness of it. Un can also indicate the opposite, a reversal. Notice the difference between unprofessional and non-professional. Unprofessional is like violating and against the standards of the profession. Non-professional simply means you're not a member of the profession. And un can also point to a sense of becoming and unfolding, and not yet. Consider unopened. Now, for Bankei, the core of his teaching is the unborn. And this isn't new in Buddhism. It goes back to the very beginning. Yet Bankei really made it his own. The unborn Buddha mind. And this unborn is like a dynamic mechanism that reflects, records and recalls everything that ever happened. It has been likened to a living mirror, that every thought, every feeling, every experience is spontaneously recorded. And it appears, disappears and reappears according to what's going on in the field of awareness. And Bankei would simply point this out to people by inviting them to notice what's outside their field of awareness. And while they were sitting listening to him, he'd point out that they were spontaneously and automatically being aware of the sounds, the sights, the aromas in the room, the people around them, perhaps the bird outside, and even recognising the bird, or the sound of the temple bell, which would indicate that the meeting was soon to stop and lunch was about to be served. So this unborn is a dynamic mechanism, spontaneous, natural, like a living mirror. And it's not something that you can attain or achieve or get. It's simply here. It's what you are. And there's no special method of awakening to the unborn. Perhaps some practical hints are: be yourself, be spontaneous and authentic, and let the spontaneous thoughts and feelings, the traces of them, simply appear and disappear. Be yourself, be spontaneous, and let the dynamic mirror mind just spin and let the traces appear disappear, reappear, without getting caught up in it. Now, in all traditions, when you get to the edge of language, un appears. Beyond comprehension, unimagined, unimaginable, uncreated. Now, Kalyani and I put together Un-Duality. It's a made-up word, it's a mashup. Why? To actually attempt to reclaim something of that sharpness, that activity of knowing. Here's some. Hi, Yoko. Come in. Just put your bags down and come and join us. It's a great bus, this room, and even if you miss it, you can still catch it. So, Un-Duality. It's a concept we just came up with to attempt to create a sense of a sharpness, an unknowing. Because the non-duality package is relatively easy to get hold of. You can understand the concepts, the stories, and if you follow the pointers, people get it. They get at least a conceptual understanding. And that very knowing about it can be the issue. Familiarity can create a deadening. And those potent pointers can become cliches. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with things like one without a second. There's no me. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Potent concepts repeated and repeated and learned until they lose their essence, their meaning. So Un-Duality is about reaccessing that unknownness, that unknowability. We were speaking about Bankei before you arrived. So exquisite. This image of it's like a living mirror, always moving. This unborn Buddha mind, like a dynamic living mirror. Hi. That's all right. I thought I heard V8.
Time doesn't exist, though, does it?
Not for you. Hi. Unconditioned. The Dzogchen masters would speak of the uncreated, the unmanifest. And attempting to describe what they were pointing to, they would use images from nature, pointing often to the heavens, talking about sky-like awareness, space-like awareness, without beginning, without end, without attributes. And there is no special way of realizing this. There's a story about someone asking a Dzogchen master about the practice of meditation, and he replied rather curtly, "Why disturb my undistracted non-meditation with a practice?" Being spontaneous, being present to what's unfolding. Now, unfolding, unconditioned, unfixated. This can be very uncertain, unclear, and uncomfortable. We tend to stay with the known, the familiar, because to enter into the unknown can be very, very uncomfortable. See, 20th century writer Hemingway said, if you want to learn something new, go to where you've never been before. Now the mind loves the known, the familiar. Because in the known there is a sense of control. This labelling and naming is a way of creating a sense of being in control, in charge. If you can name it, you own it. So letting go of control, uncontrolled, letting go of certainty, letting go of the known. The edge of the uncomfortable is the interesting place. The unknown 14th century English monk wrote a beautiful slim book called The Cloud of Unknown. And he talks about approaching the unknown with naked, blind faith of being. Get the vulnerability there. Naked, blind faith of being. Entering into the uncomfortable. So a few pointers to open up a conversation. And we invite where you're uncertain, where you're unclear. Kalyani and I are interested to be of practical help. This work is about uncovering that magical, mysterious mirror mind, that intelligence that you are, is extraordinary. As the Dzogchen people would say, let your mind be like the sky, pristine, clear, self-shining. So we invite opening up to what's uncertain. Now let's be clear here. This is not a discussion. Interestingly, the word discussion comes from the same root as the word percussion. Boom, boom. My opinion, your opinion. We have no interest in discussion about other stories or commentaries or other teachers or what you've seen on YouTube. It makes no difference. Repeating the known just gives you more of the same. We're interested here at opening up dialogue. Now, dialogue is a beautiful word. It has the same root as logos, ancient Greek word, which the early Christians translated as living word. So let's open up a dialogue, a living word, and let's explore shining the light of awareness on what is not clear, what's uncomfortable, what's unknown. So, we're here till about 5 o'clock, so let's have a conversation.
I think it's 4:30. But whatever.
Whatever it is.
Go on, right. There's no such thing as time.
Got no time.
We have time.